Testing, testing. Is this thing
Hello,
on?
hello. I
Hi,
think you're
I'm
live.
Toya.
And I'm Amanda.
I'm a loquacious lioness here to connect controversy.
And I just love having thoughtful discussions.
This is
And conversation.
Controversations.
Yeah, we second that part.
Welcome to our show. We are back at you with some fresh topics and new content on this
Mm.
lovely Sunday. If you're here, go ahead and hit that like button. If you're here and you haven't yet, please subscribe so that you can get notified the next time we go live. And thank you. So how you doing, Amanda, before we jump into the first topic?
I'm doing great. Very
Good.
good. It's been a lovely week. How about yourself?
Awesome, awesome. I couldn't complain much, and if I did, I'm sure no one would listen. So I'm just glad to be here with you and happy to discuss these topics. We've got some really good ones today. Um, So without further ado, I'll go ahead and jump into the first one. A black woman from New York City catfishes a 19-year-old Pakistani man. Woo!
See, that's crazy. So, how old was this woman?
So, according to reports, she's 33. Yeah.
And she's going
And
after a kid.
a 19-year-old. Yes,
Jeez.
absolutely. Yes. So very odd. And the way this story gained traction is that we saw her making pleas for money,
Mm.
even after she seemingly went to go meet him and his family, who were vehemently against them being in any type of relationship. She then felt like she needed the public to help fund her stay there or get her back to New York. So just a really salacious topic, and she really, I mean, all of last week, I think you really couldn't go anywhere without seeing this story in some
Mm.
form or fashion. Um, so
I
just
want
so
to.
you,
I want to see her.
I was gonna say, I'm not sure if our producer is gonna pull up the link. I don't want to pull it up if he's gonna do it, but I can. Um, so apparently she had been in Pakistan for nearly 4 months. Isn't that crazy?
4 months. Okay, let me pull it up
Yeah.
here. American woman, 32, who catfished Pakistani. Daily Mail.
Yep, that's what she looks like.
So wait, does it? See, I hate these pop-ups. Does it have the picture she catfished him with?
Do you see no, do you see what I just posted or shared?
No.
I have it right
Okay, there
next
she
to
is.
us on screen. Okay.
I see
So
it.
yeah,
I was looking at my screen.
that's that's what she looks like. I'm not sure what she used to catfish him with. That was something I was looking for, but I was
Mm-hmm.
unable to find it. There are pictures circulating of her being uh I guess imprisoned in Charleston County, South Carolina as well. Here, I'll scroll down to that one because I was really confused. Like, okay, so this is where she was obviously in prison garb. Not sure what the charges were, but this woman loves her a fake lash. And
I was
who
gonna
has,
say, what's up with the snuffleupagus? Like the
right, right.
umbrellas. Like, why?
There's all
I
these
don't get it.
cues, right?
Oh yeah, yeah, red flags for sure.
For sure. So, she went to meet her teenage lover and she refused to leave the country and even and was demanding money from the government even though the family said that they are prohibited from getting married. But
Yeah.
then what was also alarming to me about this is that her son even went uh public with saying that she is diagnosed as having bipolar disorder and is mentally unwell. So how does a woman accomplish all of what she's accomplished?
Well, the diagnoses, the mental health or unwell diagnoses or whatever, a lot of these people that go seek these diagnoses like to use it as a meal ticket. Like my mom, for instance, had so
Mhm.
many diagnoses throughout my upbringing. You know, one year it was bipolar, and then it was ADHD, and then it was like like she'd flip it around. But what that diagnosis got her was a get out of fucking jail free card.
Right.
She could commit any crime, stealing. She could like take other people's stuff. She stole money from like businesses, and she'd always get
Wow.
out of trouble because she was had a mental illness, and it would
Yeah.
get her out of trouble. So I would believe that. I mean, this woman seems like a fucking parasite.
I was going to say, so you would say this behavior is problematic then?
Oh yes, big time. Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Crazy bitchery at large.
For sure. For sure.
Yeah.
Just another L that black women are taking, honestly. I mean, yes, women of all are taking this L, but specifically black women are taking this one. Um, because I mean, yes, I agree that this is problematic behavior, but it goes even deeper than that. Like you said, you get a get out of jail free card despite whatever your diagnoses are. Um, and no matter how many of them there are, there just seems to be this blanket forgiveness simply
Mhm.
because you have multiple diagnoses of mental instability.
Yes.
And even though we've been doing so much talk as a society around this topic, it doesn't seem to be translating into corrective action.
Mm-mm.
And by that I mean, once we realized that this person was unwell, there shouldn't have been any further attention placed on her lap and given to her as far as having a platform. The
Right.
fact that we even found out about this the way that we did, to me, minimizes the amount of help that she needs, the depth of how unwell she is, and it signals to other people who perhaps are dealing with the same issues that they should do something similar, and that it puts a
Yeah.
battery in those people's backs to go out and just have this manic episode
Mhm.
for the payoff of being in front of many people's eyes, getting on TV, getting in, somebody's algorithm, having content made about them. Heck, we're talking about her now.
Yes. Yes. But I think it's important to point stuff like this out. I mean, as far as her making money off of it, I'm sure she is, right?
Yeah,
But I feel like in situations like this, she should have been apprehended
right,
by police, taken
right,
into custody, and then shipped the fuck back here,
right.
like to be incarcerated. Because what she did to this young man is criminal.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I agree. And, to your point, I'm not sure of the dollar amount that she received, but I know that she was given um, money to get back to New Jersey or to New York. Um, I'm sure she was given some sort of money to be able to eat with and things like that. Um, so she was at least paid off in some form or fashion. I'm not saying that she was sent home with thousands of dollars, but who knows where it goes from here and who benefits from this exploitation? Because really, what it points toward as well is the media's propensity to exploit this type of behavior because they see it as problematic and they know that it's going to get folks talking. But the fact that she's a black woman on the outskirts of living life right, uh, it it kind of makes me want to know who benefits the most from this. Because on the very flip side of that, you have a contingent of black women online talking about how we're the most educated and you know
Which
we're
is
we're
it's
go ahead.
true. It's true. I would say
Right.
indoctrinated, university indoctrinated,
Uh,
but they
I'll
have the
give you
most
that.
student debt probably.
I'll give you that. I'm one of them.
Yeah.
I certainly have student loan debt for sure. But
Yeah.
I also, I take issue with wearing that as a badge or any having attached any pride to it because you can get all the degrees that you want, and that's great, I guess, if that's what you want. But what does that translate into? And how does that fare in the face of stories like this? Um,
Mm.
Again, I don't benefit from this story or the exploitation of this woman, but someone is because it shines a light on this dichotomy that exists, right? And you could take the color out of it and simply have the conversation of how many women are under duress and dealing with emotional and mental health issues and how they choose to go about solving them or treating them,
Mhm.
the lack thereof.
Mhm.
Um, what does it say about Black women in America attempting to co opt the passport bros? Like, essentially, that's what she was trying to do, right?
Right.
Maybe she
Well,
went about it wrong, but it seems very much it's giving, I want to go find a man outside of the States because the grass is greener over there.
yeah. But what she's saying is demanding money from the government. That's a
Hmm.
welfare queen mentality.
Sure. But she
So,
seems so convicted in asking for it though. If you watch
well,
the clips of her talking,
can
she's
we play the
saying,
clips?
I don't have the clip, but I'm saying
Oh,
if you watch
let me
it,
find it.
you will see that she's very convicted in asking for this money. She seems to think that she can improve relations where she was to improve the infrastructure of Pakistan in that area that she was in. And so
Whoa, whoa,
again,
whoa, 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 whoa. She's
yeah,
trying to get into the government.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, she sounds like a feminist.
Well, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, she
yeah.
says she says the government needs to fix these
Pakistan.
streets. It's ridiculous here. I don't like it. You all need to understand that
Pakistan.
Pakistan needs new buses, taxis and cars. So, this is where she's like, my plan is to rebuild this entire country. I'm asking for 100K and I need 20K in cash by the end of this week. So, none of it really seems rooted in rationality. None of what she's
Right.
saying is rooted in rationality, but she was sincerely asking for it. And so, my question is, uh, for the women who really are leaving the country to go find love in other countries, how does this bode well for those people who are actually trying to go about it in the quote unquote right way versus this woman who clearly is not who she says she is or even cognizant of what she should be doing with her life? She has at least one son that we know about that knows that she's unwell and he's
Right.
telling us about it. So it's just kind of it makes you scratch your head about the fact that in 2025 a woman could do something like this and get all of the media attention that she received.
Okay, I have the a 2-minute clip in the back
Okay,
that I want to play.
go ahead, please.
Is that the clip you were talking about? That's the one I
Yes,
found. Okay.
yes.
Yeah, let's play this because I got to hear what this crazy bitch is
Okay.
saying.
For 100K in my pockets so I could do real estate. My husband will own it in Karachi. We will not live here, but we will get this job done right away. I'm asking for 20K right away in my pockets at the end of this week.
An American woman's journey to Pakistan for love took an unexpected turn, capturing the internet's attention and turning her into an unlikely viral star. Onija Andrew Robinson, 33, from New York.
Dude, her eyebrows suck. Like she shaved them off and did them with a Sharpie or
Yes,
something. What
yes,
the
and
hell?
to me that's another indication. Maybe men wouldn't see this, but women, that's blaring that hey, something's not right with this person.
I want to. I would love to see the picture she catfished that poor
I
dude with.
know. I swear I looked for it because I'm like, there has to be something that he saw that kept him communicating with her.
I mean, what
I
was
don't
the
think she used
description
her
of the
body.
picture?
Yeah, I don't think she used a picture of herself.
Maybe somebody else. Mm. I'm gonna keep playing this.
York, flew to Karachi in October 2024, intending to marry her 19-year-old online boyfriend. However, when his family forbade the marriage, her plans and finances quickly unraveled. Refusing to accept the rejection, Ms. Robinson reportedly camped outside her would-be husband's home, unwilling to leave Pakistan. As weeks turned into months, her unusual predicament gained local and international media attention. While stranded, she held multiple press conferences, making bizarre demands, including a public request for large sums of money.
20K up front, 5 to 10K every week.
Okay.
Tell the government we need this money right now.
Despite the personal turmoil, Ms. Robinson embraced the limelight.
Of
Videos
course.
of her strolling the streets of Karachi, flanked by security, flooded social media. She was spotted dining at McDonald's, where fans approached her to shake hands, and even managed to secure small-scale brand deals, further cementing her unexpected celebrity status. The
Ugh.
internet crowned her an icon and queen, with millions engaging in discussions about her journey under the viral tag American Lady in Pakistan. As her visa expired, Sindh Governor Cameron Khan Tesori stepped in, ensuring an extension and arranging her return flight to the US. After more than 3 months, Ms. Robinson has reportedly left Pakistan, bringing her whirlwind saga to an end, at least for now.
Mm.
Do you feel better having seen that now? Because I
Oh
can.
yeah.
Are you still able to keep your dinner down?
Yeah, yeah. It's like I'm okay.
Right. I don't know what's with the concealer above the eyes.
It looked like she shaved them off and then drew them like above her
Right, but it
eyebrow.
also looked like she used a concealer that was about 2 or 3 shades too light
Yeah, I
just
don't
in
know.
this region of her head and then didn't do anything down here. So I don't know. That was, again, you can tell a lot about a woman
Yeah,
with the way they place their makeup. You really can.
yeah.
You really can. And there's nothing wrong with if you want to shave your eyebrows off and draw them on. However, if you're going to
Yes,
draw
there
them
is.
on, I think there's some people who pull it off really well. But again, I was going to say you have to draw them on so that they look like eyebrows and not just slits on your face.
I've never seen them done well.
I have.
Really.
I have because there's some people who have very scant eyebrows and so they don't really grow into a full eyebrow. So I can understand someone drawing them in that case or even
Mm.
that's what microblading basically
Yes.
is. So,
Microblading's nice though.
yeah, it is.
Yeah.
But
But you have
anyway,
to have eyebrows
you do. You have to have
to,
something to
to
start
blend
with.
it. Yes.
Yes, you do. You do.
Mm. Hello, Tom. Good to see you. It's gonna be hard for me not to do that. But yeah,
Uh,
going back to that woman, I don't know. I don't. She seemed like very feminist with her demands for sure. Sounded like the government kind of appeased her for a while.
Sorry for going away like that. I keep
Oh, you're fine.
sneezing and I don't want to
Oh, you're
sneeze
fine.
on
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
camera.
You're fine. Yeah,
But
it's
yeah,
just
I
insane.
again, did you see how many reporters were out there watching and just waiting
Hmm.
to ask her questions and stuff? I was just
Yep.
like,
And she got some sponsorship
she did. She got some
deals,
brand deals. I was
brand
like,
deals.
okay, so we're
Brand for what though?
right, right, right. If it was eyebrow gel, I'm boycotting. Whatever the company was, I'm boycotting.
It's the snuffleupaguses.
Right. Yes.
Yeah, some
I don't have
Maybelline.
anything against wearing fake lashes. They look nice on some people. I've worn them once for a wedding and I loved them. But because
Hmm.
I'm not good at doing things with my eye, I don't do them myself.
Yeah. Yes, I love those videos the guys do. Well, where they'll take clipper guards and they'll like
Uh-huh.
tape them and they'll put
Uh-huh.
like uh meat, like hot dogs as lips.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, the
It's
internet is a
pretty funny.
wild place.
Yeah. But yeah, hair clipper guards as eyelashes. Those are funny. I see some women that actually have, and I don't get it. And you know what? I'm going to say this, Toya. It's mostly Black and Hispanic women that I see wearing them. And I don't know if it is a
Yeah,
price, like all the really big, extravagant ones. I always see Black women
sorry about that. Uh-oh.
ones. The Hispanic women will do that.
Yeah, I've seen that as well. I don't know why my allergies just started going crazy. I needed to blow my nose, so sorry about that. But yeah, I've seen it mostly, like you said, with Black and Hispanic women. I don't know what the congruency is there. I don't have, again, I've seen them look nice. I just think that maybe they're best saved for special occasions and not for every day, especially the ones that are like super long and fluttery. It just
Yeah.
seems like too much. But it also, I was in the supermarket earlier today and
Hmm.
I saw a woman who probably could have been this woman's sister just by the way she was presenting herself.
Mm.
She had on a wig that was more than slightly askew because I could see her actual hairline and about 1 inch back. And that's where the wig started.
Oh
So
my
I'm like,
gosh.
I don't know if you looked in the mirror before you put that on today. I don't know if you're going for a combo look. I don't know. But she also had thickly drawn on eyebrows,
Hmm.
um, lashes that were half on, half off,
Mm.
bright fuchsia lipstick. Uh, and when think about it, when you walk past these women, when you see them, it registers that they look crazy, but typically you
Yeah.
don't say anything to them. You don't ask them what were you thinking. You just go on about your day.
Mm.
So there are women like this among us all the time.
Yeah.
Again, the fact that she was able to get so much attention from this really
Yeah.
points towards that a everybody's comfortable with exploiting, crazy women because it gets clicks and views.
Yeah.
But it also says a lot about, um to me, it's personal for me because it says a lot about what black women are willing to do to find a man who isn't black. And that makes me sad
But
because
In Pakistan,
right,
I mean,
right.
those are dark brown.
I don't think it's a color thing. I think it's a culture thing,
Oh.
you know?
Okay, right. Because black isn't a skin color, it's a culture, but also
Right. Right. Right.
I never
Exactly.
understood what the fuck it means to be black. And
Yeah. And
when
you
I first,
won't. You won't
yeah.
understand that.
Well,
And that's
because
okay.
it makes zero sense. Because I see a lot of people that I can visually see are black in skin
Mhm.
tone,
Mhm.
call other people that look like them not black because
Right.
they don't
And
behave
some of them denounce that moniker altogether even though they're darker than I am. So it that's a
right.
conversation we can have on another show.
Okay, yeah.
Um but even when you travel internationally,
Hmm.
there is this blanket being of black that people apply, but it doesn't mean the same thing in the United States. It just carries a very different tone in the United States.
Hmm.
So, anyway, I think if you're ready to move on to the next topic, we
Yeah,
should.
yeah, yeah. Ready.
All right. So, topic number 2 is not having to do with color at all, but the Boy Scouts of America. They've
Yep.
officially changed its name to Scouting America to reflect increasing inclusivity.
Yes, I
All right.
remember having a stream about this on my channel when it first came out.
Yeah,
It's bullshit.
yeah.
Like extreme bullshit. Like men have zero spaces of their own anymore. Even the Boy Scouts is not even the
I'm
Boy
telling
Scouts.
you. I'm telling you. The last bastion of what it meant to cross over from boyhood into manhood is no longer. When I
Mm-hmm.
think of the Boy Scouts, that's what I think of. I think of an organization that really put a premium on ushering boys into manhood by showing them what it means to be a boy and the skills associated with becoming a young man and just laying the foundation for that. And that's not something that you could do or should do, in my opinion, with girls or
Right.
with people who identify as other than boys. The
Yeah,
nameless
like
protagonist, good to see you. He says, also, as it relates to that topic, did the Girl Scouts do the same?
nope, nope. Because I have a client that's actually a troop leader.
Ah,
And she has her own little Mexican Girl Scouts, and there's never any boys allowed ever because it's the Girl Scouts.
right.
She is
And just for
actually
anybody confused at what Amanda just said, she said a troop leader, not a true bleeder. I know she said that kind of fast, and because of the topic, you might have thought she said true bleeder, but she said troop
a
leader.
real bleeder, no, a troop leader. No, no, but here, let me share this screen
Okay.
because this is in my county. There are wait, I can't see. Am I sharing it?
Yes.
Okay. So there are two, three, four, five, six, seven. There's like 10 of them, right?
Mhm.
So most of them, though, are still boy troops.
Okay.
There's two that are boys and girls.
Okay.
And they meet at the Presbyterian church and a Lutheran church. But the rest of them are still only Boy Scouts.
Right.
So if
And that's very on brand
you
for
if you
Texas.
have young ones, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. But I'm surprised to see this boys and girls one here, like or these two.
Yeah.
You know what though? I want to say last time I checked this, there was one more that was more inclusive.
Okay.
So one might have flipped, or else they completely closed the troop.
Like,
But yeah, it's crazy.
one could make the
It's so
argument that
unnecessary.
inclusivity is good in certain cases, but not all. I'm so against this participation trophy of it all society that we're living in now. There's a reason why things were established the way that they were. And boys and girls have very different lots in life, and there's a reason for that. Biologically, we are made differently for a reason.
Hmm.
And so when you try to enmesh the two, I think we're doing a disservice to the development that both young boys and young girls must have.
Yeah,
I mean, and to zoom out and make the conversation even larger, we're seeing the implications of that now within the workforce, where people are just not willing to hire younger generations because of all of this gray, all of these inclusivity initiatives where it's like, well, you don't even know what you're getting. Today you might be hiring a girl, but tomorrow she might come in and decide she identifies as a boy. And now
right.
what are you doing? Are you sending her to clean the bathrooms or not? Like, I don't know. It just it creates confusion where there used to not be any, all in
Yeah,
the sake of including everyone.
yeah.
I don't know that that's good. Um So the nameless protagonist says, so within Girl Scouts, those identifying as females who happen to have Y chromosomes are not being allowed in there, but the Boy Scouts are changing their name and must accept XX boys, etc.
Wait, wait, wait. Who
Yeah,
happen to have Y chromosomes?
yeah, yeah,
Who
because
said that?
the nameless protagonist said that. Because to your point with the graph that you pulled up, there are still legit Boy Scouts,
Yeah.
and then there are some that are boys and girls. But on the flip side, the Girl Scouts have not adopted this inclusivity theme.
Mm-mm,
They've
mm-mm.
remained strictly Girl Scouts.
Yeah.
So,
Of course.
it seems like the scales are not tipping in both people's favor. It's more so just saying, we're going to keep the line hard over here for the Girl Scouts, but for the Boy Scouts, it's an all free for all. We're
Yeah.
all in.
Yeah. No, that's how it operates. No, that's the thing. Women have invaded every single male space, every single one.
Right.
And then they want to complain about men playing in women's sports. And I'm like,
Right.
no, this is exactly what you feminists deserve. Like,
Right.
you can't just destroy every male space and expect men not to try to come into yours.
Now, what I
That
didn't
would
know
that would
is
be
that,
equality, right?
right, right. What I didn't know is that it removed boy from its name back in 2018. I just learned that. I had no idea. I mean, I'm not ensconced in the Boy Scouts anyway. I don't buy Girl Scout
Hmm.
cookies, but um, I was surprised to find that out, that the rebrand actually started way back in 2018. We're just now seeing the new flag being unleashed and this digitized rebrand where it welcomes girls and LGBTQ members while also including multilingual resources. Uh, I don't know. When you're talking about gender ideology, J.K. Rowling, a famous author, recently was quoted as saying, um, "It's a reckoning on gender ideology effects, and evidence will reveal disturbing truths." She said that sex is real and has lived consequences. So that's more of what I was just saying. I agree with that. If we don't have this distinction, then what are we doing? What are we actually doing out here? The, words have definitions for a reason. We can't just wake up and say everything in the dictionary now is reversed and whatever it meant yesterday, it means something else today.
Yeah, Spain man. I guess protect girls, said the Girl Scouts. Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah, I
Yeah.
guess, for better or worse. And the
Yeah.
fact that there are more girls than there are boys, it just seems really wrong. It seems like we're going full speed ahead on the wrong street.
Hmm.
I want to read this before we move on. The nameless protagonist says, "So you know what's going on. It's a diminishing of those who have a Y chromosome in general, which is consistent with trends since the addition of public schools. But
Mm.
what's ironic about this change is Boy Scouts is notorious for SA on little boys. We know how that and alphabetization seems to go in hand in hand. That may be a bit beyond the intended scope." Well, yeah, that's a lot of the reason why the rebrand even happened, because of the SA charges that were drummed up and publicized. They felt that going in this direction, I'm assuming the Boy Scouts felt that going in this direction would take some of the heat off of that while addressing, um, I guess, some of the iniquities as it relates to SA. Again, I don't think that will eradicate it by changing the name and putting up a fancy new flag.
Nope.
I think this is where if we did double down on the traditional roles of boys and girls, then you might see a change, because there's a reason why there needs to be a separation in terms of learning how to become a man from boyhood.
Hmm.
Girls should not be privy to that. They should
Nope.
understand that it's happening, but they shouldn't be undergoing the same trials that boys are, because
Nope.
that takes away from what they're supposed to be learning as girls going into womanhood.
Exactly. Yeah, they should be in Girl Scouts or Campfire Girls or Brownies. I mean, we have so many of them here
Right.
for girls, and there's Boy Scouts,
Right.
right?
And now we've taken that away from them.
Yeah.
It's just sad. It makes me sad. It has lived consequences, and we're going to continue to see more about this as time goes on, I'm sure. This is not the end of the discussion as it pertains to gender ideology, even just the fact that we're losing a lot of the institutions that used to uphold what it means to be a boy, what it means to be a man, the pride associated with that. Even getting the mentorship from a gentleman who maybe doesn't even have his own kids, but understands what it means to be a man in society and is willing to help pass that torch down to the next Boy Scout.
Hmm.
Obviously, when you're talking about some of the unsavory effects that SA has had on the organization, surely that's outside of the scope of what is necessary there. But it just makes me really sad that this is what we're having to contend with in 2025. We are, in my opinion, we are devolving um, from all of the evolutionary changes that have come across since technology has taken over. It really doesn't bode well for our future. And when they say
Right.
the future is female, this is what they're talking about, unfortunately. I don't want that.
Oh yeah. Yeah, me neither. Me
You wa-
either.
you want to read that from the nameless protagonist?
Yes, this protagonist. Indeed, I mentioned public schools for a reason, especially it being the same age boys and girls are supposed to enter into their rites of passage. I'm speaking institutionally.
Right.
Yeah, because the Girl Scout, I mean, the girl stuff, you earn badges for doing girl stuff.
Sewing, baking. Yeah.
Yep, yep. Making
I
stuff.
actually took a class in middle school about sewing and baking. Home
Hmm.
ec. It used to be called home ec.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Is that even still a thing? I
I don't
remember
think
that.
so. I don't think it is.
And
I really think I was
they give you
probably
the
the
baby
last
to take
part.
home and take care of, and it
Yeah.
cries, and you
Well,
turn the
I didn't
key.
get
Yeah,
that, but yeah, I remember seeing that on TV and some of the
yeah.
programming that, that was something that you would look forward to. And there, even with that, there was some separation between what the boys were responsible for versus the girls, and then coming back into that class and having a conversation about that experience,
Hmm.
laying the groundwork for how you will be in relationship with one another.
Yeah, yeah. I
These
don't
are
remember boys in my home ec class.
right,
None. It
right.
was all girls. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Hmm. They don't. I don't think they do that anymore. I mean, when my son, he's 20 now, but when he was in school, he went to a Harmony Science Academy. It's a one of those charter schools. It's not a
okay.
public school, it's a charter school, and it's run by like Turkish folks. So it was
Okay.
very much into science and technology.
Hmm.
But they didn't have home ec at all. I'm trying to think what the equivalent was. There was no equivalent at all. So I don't know if it's in public schools still or
Yeah. I doubt it.
I went to a public school in a small town and we had it.
Yeah.
Hmm.
All right. So Spain Man says, I haven't heard of home ec in years. They had it when I was in middle school, but I took shop class instead. That's gone too, of course. Yeah.
Mm. Hmm.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if it was still offered that that class wouldn't be full of women because, women can do it too. And, we're not going to
Right.
stop until we prove to you guys that we can do men's jobs until it gets time to, like we saw last week, remove a gun from a person. I mean, sure, we can do it, but will you get injured? Probably.
Mm. Do you know if she still has a job?
I'm sure she does. I'm sure she does.
I hope that guy sues and
I
gets
hope so too.
stupidly rich.
He For everything that we saw took place on that video, he has every right to sue.
Yeah,
Um, so yeah, I again, this whole gender ideology thing, roles were introduced for a reason. We have our strong suits as women. There's something to be said about the nurturing that we bring to a situation. Everything doesn't require that, no, but that's why we have men.
right. Right. Right.
um, so let's move on to the next topic. I think we've
Oh, this is going to be a fun one
yeah, yeah.
because I've had so many thoughts about this topic this week.
So, the tradwife movement and feminism often find themselves at odds due to their different views on gender roles and society norms. And there was a video we both watched on YouTube that Jubilee put out where it was a tradwives versus feminists. And of course, the conversation got very heated. Um,
Okay, I need to make a confession. I did not watch all of it.
okay, but at least you saw some of it.
Yes, a little bit of it.
Okay,
I have a hard time listening to feminists. I mean, all
understood.
their talking points are always the same.
Understood.
It's weird.
Yeah, but
Like,
they're fighting for you, Amanda. They're fighting for you to be able to even have that opinion. Don't you know that that's what feminism
right.
is?
You know what's weird? Men allow me to have this opinion.
You
And
better not let them hear you say that.
men protect my right to have this opinion. So, no. So what I wanted to start with, okay, so feminists hate the institution of marriage, right? Even if they don't all hate men,
Mhm.
they hate the idea of being tied to
Mhm.
one. So
Mhm.
they have a list of complaints
Mhm.
and inequalities, right? Unfairnesses. And a lot of the things I hear them complain about is stuff that they actually are going to be doing anyway, single. So it doesn't make sense. Like the list of, okay, women disproportionately do the majority of the housework, even if they're working. I mean,
Newsflash.
if you're a single woman, you're doing all the housework and the
Exactly.
yard work.
Exactly.
So it's like, I don't understand a lot of their complaints. Like, what is a complaint that you've heard of that
Well, it's just
makes
like you
sense to
said.
you?
It's no, it's just like you said. They're bringing home the bacon and they're making it too. So, I agree with you when you say it's men that are responsible for giving you the ability to have the choices that you have, right?
Hmm.
And this is why I think it's highly nonsensical because feminists' largest argument comes from their spending power. It comes from being able to say, I went and got these degrees and I got this job that affords me the lifestyle that I can live to pay someone to do something that my non-existent husband can't. When really, if you lived along the rules of traditionalism, that would be the first person you'd go to for a lot of these things that you outsource to other
Yes,
people, or
yes,
you go to a friend and ask their husband to do. There's
yes,
nothing that grinds my gears more than witnessing a single woman turn to her married friend and asking that married friend for her husband's help. I
yeah,
can't stand that. I the assumption that he is there to just do things for you on the basis of a friendship that he's not even included in.
right.
I mean, honestly, like, and I'll give you an example that kind of goes into this, but isn't really based on marriage.
Mhm.
Um, so last week we had snow, and out of the kindness of his heart, my ex came over and cleaned off all of our cars
Mm,
and shoveled the snow off of the back steps.
that's sweet.
Very sweet, very
Hmm.
kind. Unbeknownst to me, I woke up to see him finishing it up, and my
They're probably
grandmother,
even.
yeah, my grandmother was like, "Oh, I came out to help because I saw him out here doing it." Later on in the day, she says to me, "I thought he had a shovel." And I said, "He did." She says, "Well, why didn't he do the front steps?"
Uh-uh.
I'm like, "Did you have a conversation with him about doing the front steps? Did he tell you that
Mm,
he would? Where is this coming from?" Because my thing is, he did this out of the kindness of his heart, where he didn't have to do it at all. He came over here and did that.
mhm.
Uh, I was just appreciative of the gesture in general. He could have just cleaned off the cars and not done the steps in the back at all. I was supremely appreciative of that. But for her to go even further and say, well, why didn't he do the front steps? First of all, he didn't owe us what he did. Second of all,
Right,
he doesn't owe us to do any more than what he did. And third of
right.
all, he and I are not together anymore. And even if we were, his responsibility would be to me, not you. And so, again, there's this assumption that happens with women, especially when you're talking about modern women, especially when you're talking about feminists, that they can co-opt the use of other people's husbands, or even in this case, ex-boyfriends, to do
Right.
work that really should be left towards the head of the household, who
Yeah.
typically would be the husband.
See, an exception to that rule, I would say, would be widows. Because a
Okay,
lot of
yes. Sure.
I have three
Sure.
very close women in my life that are all widows, and like when you're part of a community, like you still you take care of those women a little more because their husbands aren't gone. So
Absolutely.
a friend's husband will go help the widow with the thing, but it's
Right.
not because she chose to be single her whole fucking life.
Right.
It's
Right.
because her husband passed away. Like, yeah,
Exactly. Exactly. And there's an unwritten rule that covers that exception. Of
yeah,
course, when people know, but again, that points towards community. It points
yeah,
towards a respect for that traditional role, and knowing that she upheld her end of the bargain while that man was with us. So
yes,
in his absence, of course, she needs to be taken care of because she was being taken care of while he was here. Anybody
yeah,
who knew that would prolong that.
yeah.
Women who are widowed are a universal exception. Absolutely. Um, yes, it is a position of honor. It certainly is.
Hmm.
Because when you take those vows, you're taking them, it does say for better or for worse for a reason. The
Hmm.
worst being that I'm here and you no longer are. And so I still have that vow towards you. And if we all were operating from that standpoint, this is the pouring into that would naturally occur. But when you are uncovered, unaccounted for, then you kind of just get what you get.
Right, you're a spinster.
Right. Right. And I think feminists hate when you use that word, but
Oh,
that
a
is
spinster?
essentially,
Yeah,
yeah, but that's essentially what you are. When
childless cat lady.
you're
Yeah,
choosing to go the route that wasn't meant for you, the route that makes your life easier. You're choosing to go the opposite of that. And then you want people to help you live comfortably? How
right.
does that work?
Yeah, it doesn't seem to work at all. Like I don't understand like the entitlement and the expectation of some of these women that they haven't put in the work to produce fruit that will produce later. So they
Right.
didn't have children. So in their older years, they're like expecting their siblings' children to help them and all this other stuff when it's like you haven't really earned that, right?
Right. And myself included, because as I age, I have to think about, paying someone to take care of me when I'm too old
Hmm.
to take care of myself. And, to feminists, that seems totally okay. But to me, it's unfortunate
It's
because
expensive.
it not only is it expensive, those people don't care about you.
Right.
And it's not
Yeah.
necessarily that it's um the onus is placed on your children to take care of you, but it would be so that you love them in such a way that they are honored to do so in your later years.
Hmm.
There's a give and take associated there.
Yes.
But
Yes.
when you don't even do what you're supposed to do traditionally as a parent, you also then can't expect for them to turn around and be there for you in your time of need.
Oh yeah, my mom is the perfect example of that. I told you before my mom is a human piece of garbage, right?
You have
Well,
told me that.
she is a parasite on society. All she does is suck the life out of everything she touches. But my nana was amazing. Like if it wasn't for my nana, I would not be alive today.
Mhm.
But when my nan got to a point where she could no longer take care of herself, because she did work in the healthcare
Mhm.
field as a
Mhm.
nurse's aide, and she's like, I never want to go in a nursing home. And I promised her, I was like, you never will. So I got to take care of her for the last year of her life. And it was
Nice.
amazing. It was an honor. Like,
That's awesome.
yeah, yeah.
That's awesome.
I wish she would have came down to Texas before, but she didn't want to be a burden, and
Mhm.
but yeah, no, it's the circle of life.
It
You take
really
care
is.
of the people that took care of you. My mom, for an example, she can fucking route on the streets. I don't give a flying fuck. I will
Mhm.
not help her with anything ever.
Mhm. And see, this is what I mean when I talk about being comfortable with stepping over dead bodies, because your
Yes,
mom is a symptom of a larger problem. She's
yes.
not the only one. There's quite a bit of other women who are just in the same boat that she's in
Mhm.
and will continue to, and are
Yep.
having offspring that think there's nothing wrong with that. So it
Yeah.
continues. This is why the feminists have such a voice, and they agree or argue that true choice can only exist when women have equal opportunities and are free from societal pressures. Well, no, that's the thing. The constraints are there for a reason, to bring order. You're disorderly. You're living
Mm.
on the land in a way that doesn't align with how you are supposed to be contributing to it. You don't get to enjoy what this world offers without putting in some work. And
Yeah.
if you're not willing to do that, then unfortunately, what happens in your old age is that people are just not going to be there for you. And
Nope.
that's the rub. The nameless protagonist says typically that redefining a family and state is just being a mother, and reducing the state to being a place that you can vote and practice negative liberty. Hmm.
Native liberty. Hmm.
Yeah.
Are you talking about slut walks? That's what came to mind when I heard negative
Yeah.
liberty.
Yeah. Because you're taking that liberty and just subtracting from it instead of
Yeah.
adding to it. When liberty is something that we should all strive to enjoy and benefit from, rather than take it away or decimate it.
Yeah. No, that's why I'm excited to see the government shrinking. I've been a fan of Judge Judy. Do you ever
Okay,
watch her?
I have.
Okay. I love that woman. I remember watching episodes of her when I was a kid and just thinking she was so damn cool. And she kind
Yeah,
of reminded me of my nana.
yeah.
So, no, I've been kind of on a binge lately watching some Judge Judy, and like she has her old show and then her new show where she has one lady sitting next to her doing the typing, and
Mhm.
then she has her granddaughter. So
Oh,
she's
nice.
she's kind of nurturing a granddaughter into the same line of work. I guess she's in law school, early
Mhm.
20s, really pretty girl. But they'll have little chats after each episode.
Mhm.
And she hammers hard on bad mothers. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, she has no qualms about calling out the government dependency, and half the people that stand in front of her, are able looking body people, but they're on some kind of mental disability and leeching off the fucking government. And
Mhm.
I can't wait. She needs to get involved in this societal recorrection and shrinking our government. Because there was one episode I remember her saying that this lady had this mental disability and she got all this government money, and I think she even cheated on her taxes and got like $11,000. And she made a comment about how, yeah, I don't think you're mentally disabled. I think the people that told you that and approved you for the funding are the real mentally disabled.
Yeah.
And those people in that line of work,
Oh,
like
yeah.
social workers,
Mhm.
or who is it that works? I
I
know you
think
have to go to college for it, right?
yeah, I think you're right. I think it is social work.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Well, it'll be nice to see that reduce.
it would be nice. But so many kickbacks associated with it that we might not ever see it rolled back.
Mm,
It would be nice though. It really would. When you're, I there were two examples that came to mind when we're talking about traditional wives, who are very polarizing right now. They are younger women who
hmm
opt for domestic roles. One is Hannah Nealman, and the other one is Nara Smith. They
I
both
don't know
make
if I've seen them.
content. They both make content as it pertains to being a traditional wife. making meals from scratch, everything that their kids want to eat that you see in the aisles but are packed with things that are not so good for your children.
Yeah.
They actually go home and make a healthy version of, using ingredients that you can actually identify. And they are married. They've had children young within that marriage under the coverage of their husbands, and they've found a way to make it marketable. And I love seeing that. I wish I had seen that when I was younger, because it would have given me a more full perspective of the world in terms of being a woman, and whether you choose to be modern and feminist or traditional,
Yeah.
that there's this whole scope of womanhood that is really embedded in you if you are living up to those traditional roles. Um,
Right.
so yeah, I
So, so you didn't, when you were, say, 17, 18, 19,
mhm,
did you have much interaction with married people with children?
no.
No. When was the first time you got to hold a baby, being just a single child?
Uh, in high school, I babysat for one of my mom's friends.
Okay.
So that would probably be the first time.
Okay. So
And
that's
even with
super late.
y-
Like just to
yeah,
hold a real baby.
yeah, it
Yeah.
was. But it was also, my being an only child, I didn't have siblings. I didn't, so, and I come from a very small family, so it wasn't like there were babies being born around me. Um,
Right.
and so, even with that, having that exposure, I wasn't making the connection between, um, serving your role as a wife and a mother being more important than getting out and getting a career.
Mm. Mhm.
And
Mhm.
so, unfortunately, I think that for all the independence that my mother had and my grandmother's gained, and I saw firsthand, I also missed out on this huge other end of the spectrum, which is, saying, I'm going to be a wife and I'm going to be a mom first and foremost.
Yeah.
Yes, I may have to work, but that comes in secondary towards those two things.
Yeah.
Um, and so I love that these young women are in their early 20s and they are exemplifying that happily and showcasing it in such a way that many people are engaging with their content and making different choices. I
Mm.
started watching a show on Netflix called Younger, about a woman who's in her 40s and lies about her age to get a job. And then she starts to have to continue with the lie so that she could, you know, get into social circles. She starts dating a guy who doesn't know her real age. And, it's just all this domino effect of basically, and she was married. Don't get me wrong, she was married and had a kid. But at this point in her life, she was being divorced and starting over. Um,
Mm.
and so I only bring that up to say that, a lot of what she does is try to give the younger people she's making friends with some insights as to what life has done for her, and so that maybe they don't go down the wrong path.
Right.
But it's difficult when you really like you just asked me, if you don't have that influence around you, it's really
Yeah.
difficult to drown out the louder voices which say, you're a woman, you have a choice, go get a job, go get your career, go get money, buy a house, be
Right.
independent.
Right.
All of that seems like the right thing to do if all you're doing is being surrounded by women who do that.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I don't remember in my upbringing. I like I said, I told you before, I didn't even know feminism wasn't a fucking joke until the pandemic happened. I thought it was a joke, seriously, because I'm like, there's no way people actually listen to these people. But no, they have jobs in every single structure of our society, even down to education. They make the curriculum for our fucking children.
Mhm.
Yeah, no,
Yep.
these crazy childless cat ladies.
I'm telling you, and then they influence your kids when they're in their classroom. So,
Yeah, yeah. I remember having a couple little teacher meetings throughout my son's little school career. And
yeah.
I didn't know it was feminism, but there's a little bit of feminism there.
Oh, absolutely.
But when there's a problem with some indoctrination, you need to, as a parent, go sort the teacher out for sure.
Right.
Yeah,
Right. Let them know like this one comes from a household where we have traditional roles and I'm present and I'm
yeah.
nurturing as a mother and a wife. So I don't
And
know
I'm
what
gonna
you
be
do
here,
when you go home, but when I go
right?
home, I have a husband to answer to and he has a dad.
Right. The nameless protagonist says traditionally minded folks see family as the way to safety, but those in modern modality believe the state and technology can provide safety instead of family. The state, yes.
Mhm.
I, I see that a lot.
Mhm.
That's why the government got so damn big. That's why most of these women that have degrees in social services end up not having children because their job is to go and police families. Because,
Right.
some crazy bitch will call CPS on this other crazy bitch and they'll start a little crazy bitch war or whatever.
Mhm.
Yeah, those people end up not having children because I think they have to go play mommy government. So
Right. Right.
I
But
think
a lot of
cutting,
times you can attribute these behaviors to homes that are broken,
yeah,
children out of wedlock. That's
yeah,
what you get. You get that kind of behavior. You get those kinds of traps where it becomes um, a misuse of funds and resources that
mm,
really were meant to assist people who were under the proper coverage. But because there's so many people out here willy-nilly having kids, now the state has to jump in. Where there used to be a contingency of husbands and dads that would say, bring her back to her family and let them sort it out. You'd have
see,
to answer back to your own father about how you are conducting yourself as a wife and a mother.
but I think the state being there produces the other thing. It's like if a woman has the choice, I saw this with my mom, like government assistance, she would rather like get funds from the government than be accountable and face to face, like to say a
Right.
church that going to the church and being like, hey, I need some help with my utility bill, because those
Mhm.
people in those community watch you. So
Right.
she could get the money easy from the government. I think if the government just wasn't fucking there, the rest of society would step in because they'd
Yep.
have to. People's behavior would have to change because the level of accountability that they
Yes.
would need to adopt in order to eat.
Mhm.
That is the key. Cut
Yeah.
off cut off all that
Yep.
government bullshit.
Yep. But
Because I think just because it's available and the people, because it's predominantly women, right?
right.
Because it's available, the women network and they're like, oh, hey, I work for this one department and guess what?
Mhm.
You could be approved for and what is this and what is that and here let's sign you up for all these cash and prizes and it's like without
Exactly.
those women doing that I think it would definitely reduce the government spending.
It's like a sweepstakes to them. This
It
whole word
is,
of mouth thing that happens, and it's like, well, what this was intended for is not what it's being used for.
yeah,
And you are bastardizing the resources.
yeah,
Um, the nameless protagonist says, you just described why, politically speaking, women in general have progressed to the left sharply, while men instead are going moderate conservative. Worldwide in countries, this is a thing. This is
yeah,
why a lot of men are deciding not to date because they are just opting out of this completely because what's in the bag? A basket of deplorables. You know,
right,
that's what
yeah,
they're getting on the dating scene. So it's
yeah,
unfortunate because and not to toot my own horn, but women like me go unnoticed because I'm not any different to them. It's not
yeah,
until you actually sit down and have a conversation with me that you see that I might actually have my head on straight and be willing to do what a woman is meant to do in the role of not just a girlfriend, but a wife. Um, and so that's the rub.
mm,
I've got to fight through all of that noise and muck and mire and you know, progressing is not the word I would use to the left. I would say it's a devolvement.
Degenerate. A
Yeah, I
degeneracy.
it is. It is because again, what's if you zoom out towards the future, what's on the end of that? What happens as a result of those decisions? Sure, they feel good in the moment, but in later life, what can you cash in with those prizes, those sweepstakes that you
Mm,
got back in your 20s and 30s because you opted to rely on the state and technology versus being covered by a husband and living traditionally and carrying out your biological imperative.
mm,
Not all of us can carry out that biological imperative. I'm one of them. I'll be on, I'm happy to say and honest to say that that's my lot in life, but it isn't for lack of wanting.
yeah,
You know, some of us have been placed in this position, you know, unfairly, one could argue, but at the same time, there's so much more that I could do to pour into the next young woman who can do that. There's a young
yeah.
lady on my job who just announced that she's pregnant last week, and I'm so happy
Yay.
for her. Yeah,
Yeah.
she lives with both her mom and dad, and she's going to have her first child. Uh, I don't believe she and her boyfriend are married yet, but they intend to be married. But again, I'd rather
Shotgun
see
wedding.
that. Right. I'd rather see that where she's still even under the coverage of her father
Yeah.
than to see her living in an unruly
Section
way.
8.
Right, right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Her own
Just
place. Like,
exactly, exactly.
I don't that's another thing I was thinking of, Toya, when I was thinking about you earlier and how houses, like multi-generational houses, are a
Mhm,
little healthier
mhm,
regarding the raising of children.
mhm.
But I was thinking about it. I have never once lived by myself in my
Well, you
entire
see,
life.
I don't think honestly, I don't think
I
we're
don't
meant
think
to.
I don't think we are either because I worked with this lady that was such a crazy bitch. Oh my gosh. I learned how much the government is using welfare to put these crazy bitches into psychology degrees, by the
Ugh.
way. That shit needs to stop. But she was telling me she has 3 kids. She's divorced. Um Oldest one was 11, youngest one was 4, but she was trying to tell me how when she lived by herself in San Antonio, she had such a hard time. Like
Right,
she got so depressed even though she had her 3 kids with her, she had a hard time like trying
right.
to work and she just
Mhm.
fell into this depression and now she lives in this community with her mom and her 3 kids and even though it's not the ideal situation, I think she's doing a lot better. I don't think and I was thinking about the housing issue. Like, you know how many people are just living by themselves that
Mm,
I think
right,
aren't supposed to be?
right. Yeah.
Like, I don't think it's healthy. Have you ever lived by yourself
Oh,
completely?
yes. Oh,
Yeah.
yes. Oh, yes. For quite some time, actually. I would say for 10 to 12 years. Yeah.
Jesus.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Um, and intermittently throughout that time, I was in relationships. So, either completely by myself, but also with a partner. And,
Yeah.
you know, the hardest part about moving back home was realizing like there's benefits to living in a multi-generational house. And obviously, my mother and my grandmother, whom I love more than anything, um,
Yeah.
being supported and covered by them feels wonderful. But at my big age, this is something that I believe should be done by a husband. But because I lack that, this is the next best
Right.
thing. You know,
Right. Right. Right.
yeah, yeah, it's definitely more difficult to live on your own, to pay your own rent and your utilities and make sure your car has insurance and gas and repairs all of those things are difficult placed on one person in general.
Yeah.
But as a woman, I don't think necessarily we were put here to live under that pressure. And feminists would argue that it's choice. And well,
Mm,
isn't it great that you have the ability to make enough money to do that? Well, not all of us are making enough money to do that.
right.
Yet we're still upholding this boss bee attitude where it's like, oh,
Right.
I'm an entrepreneur and I've got all these. degrees and I was
Yep.
able to, I guess it looks good on paper, but even when you're talking about seeking the companionship of a man, why would he want that? Where does he come in? Now is he just in addition to all of those things? Is he an accoutrement? Is he an accessory? Or is he actually the man
Right.
that loves and wants to protect and provide for you? How does he come in and do that when you're doing that for yourself for so long and outsourcing it to people who don't care about you?
Mm. Yeah, I don't see that I mean, going back to what you were saying, how there wasn't a lot of influence in your life and how
Hmm.
you're really happy to see the younger influencers showing off the family thing and, how to do that. Cause I'm sure they have videos about this is how I make this thing. And
Right.
yeah, and I'm sure that's helping. There's a lot of people, I think, our age and above, because the lack of social media.
Hmm.
They spent a long time making terrible life choices because they were stuck in bubbles with all these crazy bitch feminists who were leading them in the direction to hell. Like,
Hmm.
so I came across on the internet a lady, and she was married, I think, but then divorced. I can't remember if her husband died or if she just divorced, but they had 3 kids, and she raised all 3 kids, and two of them were daughters. One was a son. The last born was his son,
Hmm.
but sent all them to university.
Hmm.
Two daughters are in their 30s, have no plans on getting married. Her son's
Wow.
gay,
Wow.
so she's in her old age going, okay, where's my grandbabies? Like,
No
but
sight of them.
what's fucked up? Her
What?
first child she was pregnant with, she had an abortion. So she literally drinks at night and wonders if she killed her chance to have grandchildren. Like, can you imagine that kind of life? Like now she's alone, because
Yeah.
her daughters are these big boss career bitches or whatever, and her
Yeah.
son's like bloody dying.
Yeah. Yeah.
No
And
grandbabies.
and to the point that the nameless protagonist is making about technology, you've got
Hmm.
the option of having um artificial wombs now. You can still be a single woman and not be able to have children, but go buy yourself one through the use of an artificial womb. Yeah, we've always had adoption and things like that, but now you can actually specify your baby and from start to finish. Surrogacy has also been a thing, but again, these are things that go away from the traditional and organic way of doing things, and I'm not sure that just making those things as options by way of technology are really going to do us any good.
Right.
So again, zooming out into the future, when you're considering all of that, I'm not sure that the return on those investments are nearly as high as they would be if we did them the traditional way.
No,
Tradition exists
it's
for a
definitely not.
reason.
And the feminists are pushing for more insurance companies to pay for more in
Right,
vitro
right.
right now,
Yep, yep.
which I don't think that's a good idea.
No,
Um,
no,
but
because now they're having children. I have a coworker friend who went that route and had a boy. So now she's raising a son who's most likely going to be resentful towards his mother for not providing a father for him and getting to learn about life as a boy and coming into manhood without that influence, and then having to then turn around and take care of her because her where her dad left
he's a
off,
son
he's gonna
husband.
have to, right, right, where her
You're
dad
right.
left off, he's gonna have to take up the slack because there's no
Oh,
man in her life.
son
Even when
husband.
I first met her before she did all of this, she was trying to find a mate and was unsuccessful. But at that time, I didn't have the knowledge that I have now, but I would have been able to say to her as I look back on it with these eyes, what are you bringing to the table that a man is going to want to be take part of? You're a woman who's wildly successful in her career, has bought and owned her own home for a few years now, and you're not interested in doing whatever it takes to make yourself as physically attractive as possible because you're eating the
Right?
foods that you shouldn't be eating, and you know,
Right?
she wasn't she wasn't ugly, but she was a little heftier, and she definitely, used her money to her advantage to go on trips and do things by herself that
Yeah,
really don't attract a man who's looking to have those experiences with a woman.
right.
And I don't think that as career women, I don't think that we think about that until it's too late. So then when she wanted to have the kid, she's like, "Well, I can just go pay to go get in vitro." And she sure enough did. She had her son,
Wow.
and you
Yeah.
know, there's all kinds of resources for single moms. We know that.
Yes.
You want to
Yes,
read
yes.
that?
Oh, yeah, yeah. The weapon I see wielded against traditional women is the charge that those women are less intelligent or less educated or less, fucking retarded because they are in such student loan debt and they're so
Right.
indoctrinated
Right.
and fear mongered that they
Right.
literally can't think straight. Because, I mean, the feminists know that's how their emotional terrorism works to, you know,
But
recruit more cult members. Emotions, you get the emotions
yeah,
high, your critical thinking lowers.
right. Right. And
So
here's the thing. What's so bad about being less educated?
uh, I
I
don't
don't think
really,
I don't think there's a downside to that. We've placed so much of a precedent on or a premium on being educated and being more intelligent. Then who? The husband who would have been willing to marry you? Are you sure that's what you want?
right? No, it is definitely not.
Seems
No,
counterintuitive.
and I think I can't even say that it's educated because a lot of these degree holding women, they're dumb. Like
Right.
their problem solving skills aren't
Right.
there. Their
Right.
critical thinking, like they
Coping
can't.
skills. Yep.
Yeah, they're
Yep.
almost they can repeat the feminist dogma. Like
Mhm.
they have the feminist Bible down, but it's
Mhm.
like it doesn't seem smart. Plus, I
No.
look at their life and their choices. I'm like, that's dumb.
Right.
Like,
Right. But right now it feels good. Right now it works for me. So who cares what the fallout is? I think
how
that's a
does it
lot of it.
work? How does it
Because
work though?
right now I have the money to go to Dubai and take pictures for Instagram. So that feels good for me,
Hmm.
right? It's like I have the money to go finance a vehicle and it's the top of the line. So that feels good for me. It's
Mm.
it's all this
Mm.
impulse buying and spending and
Superficial. Yeah.
right, filling your holes with superficiality versus actual tangible things that will continuously refill you versus that one time fill. And now you got to go get something else to fill it again.
So, wait, Toya, are you saying these feminist whores are just trying to stuff their holes with superficial garbage?
That is what I'm saying. That is
Okay.
exactly what I'm saying. Rainfire Design says,
It's
isn't one of the
funny.
shaming tactics against passport bros that they are getting uneducated women from other countries who don't know traditional marriage is slavery? Yes.
Yeah.
And in that argument, I would say that those women are much smarter than the ones here
Yeah.
because they at least realize their return on investment is a long life with someone who cares about them that will make sure that they're taken care of well after they're gone.
Not only that, it's just listening to your biology
What a
instead
concept.
of somebody else, some other women that, could be a mentor in your life, like listening to what your body is urging you to do. I mean,
Mhm.
women, in kind of paying attention to that, I think women
Mhm.
today are kind of probably going back to a previous discussion we had about head meds. Like a
Right.
lot of these people are not living the way they should be, so they need
You're
drugs
right. This is why anxiety is so high. It's
and
all
depression.
connected. It's all
Yeah,
connected.
yeah.
All connected. All right. If it's all right with you, we'll move on to our wild card.
Yes, yes, yes. Can I get more tea?
Please do. Get
Okay.
your tea.
Excuse me for 2 minutes.
Pull
I'm
up
gonna
the
potty too.
video. Hold
Okay.
on. Yeah.
I'm
We
gonna
have a wild card topic that we are going to introduce here.
I'm gonna still listen though.
Okay. Um, so apparently this is a racist TikTok video made by local teens that
Ah,
ended up going viral.
racist TikTok. Okay, play it.
All right. While Amanda goes and refills her tea, we'll watch this video and we'll play it back if we need to.
I can hear it.
And then we have eat watermelon and fried chicken.
Fried chicken,
Yeah.
watermelon, yeah, that's
Yeah,
pretty good.
yeah.
Yeah, you heard that right. A shocking racist video going viral tonight and putting the spotlight on two local teenagers. The video sparking outrage on Twitter after it was initially posted on the app TikTok. CBS 46's Trace and Bragg spoke to students about this disturbing video.
It's a growing social media trend where you take water and pour it into a bucket to visually show the recipe to create something. In a video released last night, the normally innocent and uplifting challenge was used to promote hate.
Today we're making. First we have.
I thought, why would somebody make a video like this just for like entertainment purposes?
Today, I caught up with Carrollton High School student athlete Juan Nieves and a few of his teammates. The racist video two of their classmates made.
Next we have. Don't have a dad.
Don't have a dad? Yeah.
Yeah.
Was on everyone's mind.
I walk through the halls with those folks and see that they think about us like that.
Next we have. Rob people.
Specifically whites, yeah, they do that.
In the racist viral TikTok video, the two students used derogatory ingredients.
Next one is make good choices. Let's see.
There's nothing there.
Terrell Carmichael knows both students in the video.
They would not know to talk like this. That was a complete surprise to everybody in our school.
After the video was released, Carrollton High School's principal launched an investigation. In a statement, he said, even if the offending incident was recorded after school hours, it doesn't alleviate the student's responsibility to uphold a high standard of behavior. Carrollton City Schools Superintendent Dr. Mark Albertus said he, quote, was deeply disturbed by the overt racist tone of the TikTok video. The district expelled both students by 3 p.m. Friday.
That was the best way to handle it, in my opinion.
Both students I spoke to today tell me the racist views portrayed in that TikTok video are not shared by the majority of the students here at Carrollton High School. Reporting in Carrollton, I'm Trace and Bragg, CBS 46 News.
Doing physical therapy.
I have a question. Can you hear me?
Yep.
So is it racist? I can think of one specifically. Is it racist if it's like true for the majority?
I think it's racist because it is pointing out like it's the whole thing about stereotypes being true, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're rooted in some sort of truth for sure.
Yeah.
But it's the tone that it takes that makes it racist, right?
Hmm.
So if they had presented that information with facts and data instead of making a mockery of it, it wouldn't have been racist.
Hmm. So
But
if you intellectualize it and back it with statistics about like black on black crime and robbery rates and all that kind of stuff.
right, but also coming at it from a tone of being educational versus making a mockery. That's what that's the fine line. That's the fine line right there because you're talking about two seemingly white students who are presenting information that they've gotten from somewhere. And instead of highlighting how these things might be detrimental to a portion of society, they're making fun of it by minimalizing it to a TikTok trend, while also using offensive language that they knowingly are aware that is offensive. So it's not even just intellectualizing it, making it less racist, but it's also just the tone in which they presented the information. Again, like Spainman says, it's being weaponized.
Right.
So, I think it's a a thing that happens all the time. I don't think we'll ever see it stop happening because there are lots of people who feel this is something to be trivialized and made fun of because they live in um, parts of whatever state they live in, whatever part of the country where they don't have to necessarily deal with any of those topics that they brought brought forth into that sink. um so it's kind of like, yeah, I have the luxury of being able to make fun of this because this isn't my life, nor will it
Mm,
ever be my life, but I see it all the time. And so rather than doing the work to understand why these are points of contention, I'm just going to make fun of it because I don't have to deal with it.
right. You know, it's funny. I told you before I grew up in a really poor white trash community, right?
Mhm.
I mean, I think that in our town there was like 10,000 was our total
Mhm.
in our community. No black people whatsoever, but we had a bunch of Mexicans
Mhm.
and mostly white trash. Like everybody's life goal was welfare check, but if you could get a disability check, man, you're set for life. There's a lot of things that people say about black people that are true for white trash people too.
Oh, sure.
So
Oh,
I
sure.
guess maybe it would be people that have never experienced that kind of stuff would be
Sure.
more likely to make a video like that, just making fun of it because they don't really.
But again, the bigger part of this is that uh they specifically use the N-word, and we know who that
Oh,
refers
I didn't
to.
remember.
Yeah, that we know who
Yeah.
that refers to. No one's ever going to call you that,
Mm.
regardless of where you grew up and how you know
I've been
that.
called that.
But sure, again, like I said on the last episode, I have no way to speak into your experience.
Mm.
But what I'm saying is, um, when they made that video, I can guarantee you they weren't thinking of you or someone who looks like you.
Mm.
That's what I'm
Mm.
making the point about.
Yeah.
That word is very racially charged and it is used purposefully to incite something. And so I would even argue that in using that term towards you, they still wouldn't have gotten the response they were looking for. There's a payoff associated with doing content like this, right?
Mm.
And
Yeah.
I'm sure they didn't think they would be expelled for it, but they did get some attention. And I'm sure that in their circles, this is fodder for the weekend. It's
Mm.
something to have beers over and joke about later because again, they're surrounded by and within circles that they don't have to contend with the scrutiny that they're making jokes about.
Mm. People using a word they know will trigger that. That
Mhm.
said, this is America and can be seen as protected by the First Amendment. Yeah, that's
Right.
another thing to point out. It's like let the fucking idiots speak. Like let the racists speak. At
Right.
least you know who
Tell them
they
who they
are,
are. Exactly.
right?
Exactly. I'd much rather know who you are than to be under this guise of thinking who you are and you being somebody completely different.
Right.
Totally agree with that.
Yeah. That
Well,
word.
I'm
Uh,
glad we had that wild card topic.
yeah, that was a good one.
That was a good one.
Hmm.
Shout out to Moses. Um,
Thank you, Moses.
so question for Amanda. I struggled with this.
Oh,
I honestly did not come up with one. I'm not even gonna lie to you.
really?
I didn't come up with one because um, you know, I don't know how this is gonna sound, but I don't often consider what a white woman might be able to tell me about things that I see white women doing. I don't often consider
Really?
that. I really
Really?
don't. I really
So
don't.
you already know why
No, I
white
just
women
don't
do
consider
fucked up
it.
shit? Oh, you don't care. You don't see
Yeah.
white.
I really don't. Honestly, in the totem pole of things that matter to me in my life,
Yeah.
I don't even think that registers.
So there's nothing that you're like, why do white women do that? Like that's only white women that you see do that. Nothing.
If I did have those questions, they were likely answered when I was in college and I
Mm,
moved on from it, to be
mm,
honest. I mean, I've had one of my best friends is a white woman.
Mhm.
I've had white roommates. It's not like I haven't been exposed to white women at large in groups that I'm either a part of or not a part of.
Mhm.
And so for me, everything boils down to a cultural difference. So any
Mm.
question that I may have had is just, to me, the answer is we are not brought up the same. So I really did. I struggled with finding a question that I would want to ask you about why white women do certain things. I think I've always just rested on the fact that they have the ability to do things that I would never be able to do simply because of where they are positioned in society. So
Mm.
once I swallowed that truth, I just kind of moved on.
Mm.
Okay, that's a weird question. Because
Hmm.
I didn't know that that was something that was happening. Why are white women more likely to go to the gynecologist? I grew up with women who we all went as as a group sometimes as friends. Like, so I didn't know that was a thing. I'm
Mm.
take a stab at that question if you'd like.
Um, I don't know, because feel like all the black women that I know that I talk to on a regular basis that I mean, their mothers, of course, so they would
Have to go.
motherhood. Yeah,
Yeah,
motherhood, maybe. I mean, I don't know. Do black women not
I thought they
that
did.
aren't mothers? Or I don't know
I
if
go.
feminists do.
I go.
Yeah,
I think if you have a vagina, you have to go. Like, especially if you want it to be in good working condition. I don't think you really have a choice in the
yeah,
matter.
yeah. I mean, the doctor tells you how often you're supposed to come back. Maybe
Mhm.
that's it. Because I was told when I first started going, you go
Mhm.
as a teenager because,
Mhm.
that's what you do. And then
Right.
you see them every year. And then once
Biannually.
you get, yeah, and then every other year. And if you've never had yeah, I would love one, nameless protagonist. And if you don't have any, anything that's ever been strange, you stretch it out. I think I'm on like 4 years now.
Yeah. But that's what happens when you don't have multiple sex partners or
Yeah,
you're not exposing yourself to, so I
yeah, yeah.
didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah, I didn't know either. Maybe it's a thing.
Yeah, maybe
I'll
it
ask
is.
around.
Just hasn't been my experience or any of the women that I know. It hasn't been their experience either.
Yeah. I mean, and it could be, I mean, maybe it's one of those people who look like you. I don't know how many
Yeah,
black
maybe.
women gynecologists there are, but would a black
Yeah.
woman be cool with going to, uh, I don't know. Most of mine have been men. Like,
I
they're
was
so
gonna
much more
say
gentle.
when
They
I
warm
first
it up
started,
first.
right, when I first started going, I went to men primarily. It's only
Hmm.
within the past few years that I started going to a black woman. It's even especially leading up to having a hysterectomy, she performed that on me.
Mm,
And so, but I I, I mean, it's something that's necessary, and
yeah.
that's all there is to it. Um, housekeeping.
Yeah. Yeah. Preventative maintenance.
Right, exactly. I'm
Yeah.
curious as to what the nameless protagonist's question is. I hope
I
he
know.
types
Let's
it.
have it.
Yeah. And otherwise, you guys are all
Brain
welcome
fire.
to send us an email with any questions that you might have. We welcome you to be our contraband. That is who we refer to as our audience. Our contraband, you are always welcome to send emails to us with questions that you may have at controversational@gmail.com. You see that scrolling across the bottom. Even if you think of a question after we've ended this stream, we'll be happy to answer it on the next one. We didn't get any questions last week, so we don't have any to answer for today. But
Mm.
hopefully, you guys will send us some between now and next weekend.
Yeah, I got a message from a chick. She was asking about, and this might be a good What do you think for next hold on, let me pull it up.
Sure.
Just because it mentioned like occult stuff.
He wanted to provide a video to a link um and get our thoughts on it, but he's having a problem finding it right now. So
Oh,
maybe
okay.
that's something we can save for next week. If you don't
Okay.
mind, when you do find it, the nameless protagonist, send it to us via email and we'll be happy to explore that question next week.
Oh, on a side note, do you know many black people that are flat earthers, or is that just a white trash thing?
I don't know many. I don't think I know any.
Right? I don't either. All
Hmm.
the flat earthers I know are like white trash inbred. So,
Did they not have a globe in their classroom?
okay, so I heard one crazy bitch bastard factory said that she believed the earth was flat because her grandpa got up in a plane and he looked out and he saw the world was flat. I was
Okay.
like,
So you're able to see the entire world from a plane now. Okay. Interesting.
yeah. Yeah, she was just giving feedback. I really love the idea on incorporating the elders and families because my grandma was a huge part of my upbringing as well.
Yeah, shout out
But
to the
yeah,
grandma.
some ideas. Spirituality, yeah. The occult, flat earth theory
Okay.
might be something interesting. Because I think that flat earth stuff's an inbred white people thing.
Uh, okay. So I think by
Excellent.
this comment he's making, he's going to get back to us with the question. He's just telling
Okay.
us what's in reference to.
Okay. Yeah, sex is a protected class. Originally it was meant for only C race and color, but sex was added because the feminists were worried black women would have more protection than white women.
All right, so
Um,
we'll look forward to his question because I don't think he's asking it right now. I think he's just
yeah,
telling us what it's going to be about. We'll look
yeah, yeah,
forward
yeah.
to his question via email, and then we'll go ahead and um, explore it next week.
Yeah, I have a hard time every time they're like minorities and people that have been discriminated against in the past, and they
Hmm.
put women in there. I'm like, women are the majority of the fucking world.
Yeah, yeah,
It's not you can't.
and
It
that
doesn't make
that also speaks towards what we're here to do. There's more of
right.
us, so there could be more of us, right?
Well,
Like,
and if we look at a global aspect, I mean, yes, here in America, it's predominantly white. But guess
right?
what? World population wise, we're the fucking minority. And
Yeah.
we're the only demographic that is shrinking.
Hmm.
Everybody else is growing.
Growing. Yep.
So
Yep. It's
people
true.
want to talk about that shit.
Amanda said, "I got some facts
All
for you."
right. Well,
I love it. I love it.
it's been a
It's
pleasure.
it has been. We are at the end of our second episode. I'm looking forward to the third. We'll have a good time next week again. We'll come at you live on Sunday again with some fresh topics. Um, and I appreciate everybody's participation in the chat this evening. For sure, the nameless protagonist had a lot to say. Rainfire
Yeah.
Designs, Tom Laundry,
Oh,
JR4.
JR, by the way, good to see you. He's my Mexican sniper. He's my
Okay,
master wrench on my channel.
awesome. We're gonna have to get him a wrench here too.
Yeah, he's.
Zoltan, Spain Man,
Hmm.
UFO Kamikaze, the cynical one. I think that was everybody that said something in the chat. I appreciate everybody contributing to the conversation by way of chat. You guys can do so via email as well. Do not hesitate to send us an email. As we grow the channel, we likely will take more and more from our contraband, that is you, our audience, and expand upon it. We want to talk about the things that you want to hear us talk about.
Yeah, in Rainfire Design, I did tag you in my last stream because we did discuss a comment that you made. So it was
Okay.
just brought up. I hope you
Awesome.
got that. Thank
Awesome.
you for
Yeah.
that.
How's that for inclusivity?
Right? It's all inclusive over here.
Right, right. Well, thank you again for joining us. This has been Controversations, and we look forward to seeing you again next week.
All right. Bye, everybody.